Hi and welcome to another edition of Anths Innovations. Today I'm going to be improving the driving experience of my T5.1 by installing two critical upgrades, I think. Multifunction steering wheel, flat bottomed of course, and also cruise control. Not that I'm lazy, I just think it does assist with fuel efficiency and also just a less arduous drive in general. So let's get to it. So this isn't going to be a how-to video on how to install the multifunction steering wheel and cruise control. There's plenty of videos out there. The main points I wanted to go through was the problems and issues I faced when trying to select and find an appropriate steering wheel and the cruise control retrofit itself. So first off, my original steering wheel, no multifunction. However, on the stalks, which is kind of one of the critical points, you need to determine if you've got trip or not, and also rear wiper. So mine hasn't got rear wiper, but it does have trip. However, don't do my mistake. I ordered for my new setup a cruise control function with trip. However, if you are also installing a multifunction steering wheel, you don't want to get the cruise control with trip. You need to remove it. So as we can see on my new stalks, the trip is gone, unlike the new one. This is because if both are wired in, it causes some sort of conflict, probably with the body control module. And I don't exactly know what that conflict is, but there is a conflict if you install multifunction with the trip on as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to point out is choosing a steering wheel. Now, again, there's lots that will fit. When I was looking for one, the main thing I was searching for was the controls such as this, where you've got the volume, top and bottom, no cruise control function on the actual buttons on that left-hand side. This is pretty much the layout for most common VW cars. However, if you get anything other than this, you may run into issues. Now, I found this one off a Volkswagen Scirocco. I believe it was a 2009 model, something like that. As I say, the buttons looked the same as what I wanted. It was flat bottom, which doesn't really matter, but good for aesthetics and obviously keep in trend. And yeah, I found it fits straight away, no problem at all, onto the spline of this one. So that was that. Others may fit, but that's where I looked for when finding that one, and I can confirm that a Scirocco does actually fit. In fact, let's see if it has the date on there. It may or may not. Yeah, it does. 29th of 9th. So it's a 2012. And there's the part number there. So if you get that particular one, then yeah, 100% it's going to fit. Okay, so I'm just going to crack on with the install now. We'll do some little bits of vids and photos as I go along. Okay, so as we can see, got everything stripped out. Took the dash clocks out. All this off, surrounds, the squib, the stalk, undone the bottom plate, which is probably all I needed to do. I didn't need to really remove any of this, however I have now, because basically the BCM is here, the black box, and underneath is some more cables. Yeah, you can just see them there, and that's all you need to get to really. So I could have done that from under there without taking this panel off, so I'll probably just put this back on now while I remember where all the screws go. Thankfully all the screws are all the same size, apart from one which is blatantly obvious because it's a stainless steel one, and that's for just putting the cover on at the bottom there. So one other thing, a cable has just arrived, a separate cable, so you get a wiring loom with the cruise control kit. As I say, imperative you don't get the trip on the side. You can get window wiper if indeed you've got a window wiper on, but do make sure if you're fitting a multifunction steering wheel, you don't order the one with the trip. The other thing you're going to need for the multifunction to work is a separate loom, which is a 3-wire. This one's also got a fuse because you are going to need to tap into a live, which I think will pretty much illuminate the lights on the steering wheel itself. However, so there's 3 cables there. It does come with the instructions on this particular one. As I say, some of them aren't fused. This one is. And I'm guessing it's going to fit from here to there. This is the cable that goes into the back of the dash. This is the one that obviously goes into the squib setup, for the multifunction. So I'll crack on and do some cabling. Dilly. Okay, so using the instructions, I've just got to pin these now into the correct place. These are numbered on the end. So I've got 2 cables for the multifunction steering wheel loom, and then I've got the rest of the cables for the cruise control loom. So let's get these pinned in, and then I can tape these up and secure them following the same route as the main loom. Dilly. Okay, nearly there. All the wiring's pretty much done. I've got one cable here where I'm going to run round, goes into the engine bay, into the there's a kind of a fuse box down there. Something's got to run into there. I have a problem. So this steering wheel, although I thought fitted okay, doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is the width of the metal on here is thinner than the width of the metal on the original steering wheel. So if I pop that onto there, like so, this connector doesn't sit too proud. However, when I put this one on, then it does, probably by about, say, 5mm. So therefore, I need to find a way of bringing this out a bit. And if I can't, then I can't fit this steering wheel. So I'll have to scratch my head a bit and work out a way of being able to do this, as well as trying to make sure that this gets mounted safely and securely. Dilly. Okay, so that's all the wiring done down here. Had to take the BCM off to get to a relay connected behind to pick up a switched live for the ignition. So I've done all that. Got the fuses there now. So one's for the multifunction steering wheel, and the other one on the left is the cruise control. Pop that there. Yeah, I meant to run it across into the actual fuse box, but there's no requirement. It's not going to, it's doing no harm there. I'll write in the docs about these fuses, so it's information for the next owner, whenever that will be. Hopefully not anytime soon. Right, I can crack on now. Got the last cable now, the black and yellow, which is seemingly the most difficult. This has got to go into the engine bay, and then I've got to basically disassemble a whole host of things to get to a plug that's nigh on impossible to get to, just to put this cable in. So let's crack on with that. Dilly. Okay, to overcome the steering wheel problem, I need to create more of a gap. So I got a washer which didn't quite fit on there, so I do need to get a drill bit in there and just ream some of that out. And here's one that I've done on the outside. That basically fits inside the steering wheel now. To grind that down, I just popped it over a socket, in this case a 12mm, pushed it onto the angle, well, not the angle grinder, but the stone, grinding stone, and as I pushed it on, it spinned. And then I just simply try to do everything with one hand. Just like ease the pressure on here just to keep it slow it down. So eventually it just uniformly ground its way down to the size that I needed. So now all I've got to do is just wring that centre bit out just slightly so it fits on there, and then when I tighten the steering wheel up, it won't tighten up as much onto the steering column, and hopefully that there will give me enough clearance for the horn to work then. Right, let's ream this out and see if that works. Dilly. Okay, so we're going to fit the steering wheel. Popped it back on there now and make sure it's lined up. So I'll pop my washer in I made. Screw this on. Just want to get the thread started because I don't want to cross thread the steering column because that would be disastrous. Okay. That's on there. Now let's see if the airbag goes on and the horn works. Then plug in the airbag. Hopefully it doesn't go off. Don't try this at home. Okay, that's that connected. And now the moment of truth. Make sure my horn wires aren't caught anywhere. Okay. Now the horn may not work, however this is a good sign. I've got movement now where I didn't before. Because I haven't coded in the multifunction steering wheel, so the horn may not work. Yeah, it doesn't. So once we do the coding, then that should work. Okay, great, that's that job done. Last thing to do is put this last wire in for the cruise control, and then that's it. That's my new stock for my cruise control. Happy days. Dilly. Okay, so we're in the engine compartment now. I've removed the battery tray, some covering, the fuse box, and the cover for all of this lot. So this is where I've got to get this one cable. This is the one that was inside. I've now got it through. Yeah, it came through the bulkhead in there. Put a rubber grommet on. So this is now got to go onto a plug down here somewhere. Now by all accounts it's not one of these easily accessible ones on the top. It's a black one that's right down in the depths. So you've basically got to strip as much as you can off here to get to it. So let's crack on with that. Dilly. Okay, that is everything back together. Bit of a mate of that. Not too bad though, not too bad. Right, that was the last cable. So only things left to do now is the coding. So I'll rev up the computer, plug in, and then go through the coding of the multifunction steering wheel, which will then allow the horn to work, and the cruise control, and then I can test function everything. Dilly. Okay, so the final part now. I've opened VCDS. I've done a complete scan, cleared all fault codes. So obviously I've been disconnecting stuff and batteries and whatnot. So that's all done. So we'll just simply go into 09 Central Electrics. And then once it's booted up, we'll go into coding 07. Go into the long code helper. And then we're just scrolling through now, trying to find cruise control and multifunction steering wheel, of which I don't know where they are. Okay, there's bit 3 on channel 9. There's multifunction steering wheel. Keep scrolling through now till we find cruise control. There it is. Cruise control system at the bottom there. It was on 17, bit 7. So that's it. Close that down, then click do it, and hopefully it accepts the coding. This appears to be an uninitialized control module. Valid. Data may be required. Strange. Click yes for VCDS to use default values. Click no for VCDS to try the values currently in the module. Yes. Code and accepted. I'm just going to run for any fault codes now and then see if the system works. So it's still saying incorrectly coded, but it was saying that before. I don't know if it was saying that before the install because I didn't actually do that, but right, let's find out. So all I'm going to do now is switch on the ignition's already on, so hopefully the horn works, which it does, so that's a good sign. Okay, I shall leave it there for now and do the test drive, check the cruise control comes on and report back. Dilly. Okay, so the cruise control is not working. It's just not coming on when I switch it on. I should have the green cruise control light and I don't. So what I did was check the power to the fuse, and I haven't got any power here, although I installed it correctly to the correct pin. So I'm now going to take this off again, take the BCM off to get to the relays behind to then check to see if I've got power from that. Dilly. Okay, and just to finish, it's now sorted. So I've now got, when I switch cruise control on, if you look on the bottom left where it says the miles, I have the cruise control coming on, so it's now active. I haven't tested the function of it yet, however I'm quite confident it will work. If it doesn't, I shall update. But ultimately, where the instructions told me to get the ignition live from was actually incorrect. There was no ignition live coming from that point. I think it was number 8 on socket B. So yeah, it didn't give me an ignition live, so I had to strip it all back down, find an ignition live, and then tap into that, and now it works. Something to be aware of. The multifunction steering wheel functions, I'll not turn it up because obviously copyright music, but yeah, that all works. The multifunction works, so scrolling through the MFD or the multifunction display. So yeah, all in all, a bit of a fiddly job. Turned out to be a bit of a pain, more so because of incorrect instructions, but we overcome and got it sorted. Hope it was useful. Happy days. Dilly. I've put on today the private plates, the Caravelle plates. Happy days. I think that just sets it off well. Yeah, so that's it for today. Get scrubbed up. Hope you're having a good weekend all. Dilly.